You are listening to Radio Long Island City, recorded at our studios near Hell Gate, 9 kilometers north of the Harbor Hill Moraine. And now, the Observatory. The Observatory, Thursday the 19th of March, 2026. It is 88 days after the winter solstice. It is one day before the spring equinox. Today we await the sighting of the new crescent moon that marks the end of Ramadan in the Islamic calendar. Today is the 20th day of the American and Israeli war against Iran and Lebanon. The sun rises today at 7:01 a.m. Solar noon takes place today at 1:03 p.m. The sun sets today at 7:07 p.m. Civil twilight ends at 7:34 p.m. and nautical twilight ends at 8:06 p.m. The length of daytime today is 2 minutes 43 seconds longer than yesterday. The moon is in its waxing crescent phase and is 1% full at midday. The moon rises today at 7:07 a.m., and then it sets at 8:09 p.m. The first quarter will arrive on Wednesday, the 25th of March. These are the predicted tides today for Horns Hook. In the early morning, low tide, 5:05 a.m., minus 12 centimeters. In the late morning, high tide, 11:22 a.m., 1 meter 58. In the evening, low tide, 5:21 p.m., minus 9 centimeters. At night, high tide, 11:43 p.m., 1 meter 71. In our shared realm of plants and animals, yew trees and bushes are now fully in flower. The yew is mostly dioecious, meaning male and female cones appear on separate trees. Although some trees bear both male and female flowers, and trees will also sometimes swap sex. The male flowers are the most showy, clusters of small yellow ochre stamens spangled along the branches. The female buds take the shape of small cones. Once fertilized, they will grow a seed covered in a pulpy red outer layer that we'll see in the late summer and fall. These very long-lived trees and bushes are deadly poisonous, but beautiful. Commemorations. On this day in 1918, President Woodrow Wilson signed the Standard Time Act that established 5 time zones in the continental United States and also implemented daylight saving time. The railroads had already established time zones decades before, but now Standard Time was mandated across the whole country. On this day in 1920, the United States Senate rejected the Treaty of Versailles definitively and refused to join the League of Nations. It was the beginning of a period of isolationism that would include huge restrictions on immigration as well. On this day in 1945, as Germany faced imminent defeat in World War II, Adolf Hitler issued a decree that ordered the destruction of all industries, military installations, shops, transportation facilities, and communications facilities in Germany. His deputy, Albert Speer, quietly refused to carry out the scorched earth decree. It is a warning from history that leaders whose glorious wars end in defeat may finally wreak their revenge on their very own people. A somber anniversary. On this day in 2003, the United States invaded Iraq and toppled the regime of Saddam Hussein. The U.S. was joined by forces from Great Britain, Australia, and Poland. The Secretary General of the United Nations, Kofi Annan, spoke out against the invasion, saying it violated the UN Charter. President Bush had accused Iraq of stockpiling weapons of mass destruction, but none were found. Far from establishing a prosperous and democratic Iraq, the war plunged the country into civil strife and sectarian violence and led to the rise of the Islamic State. More than a decade of war ensued. Let's sit with that for just a moment. Today we remember Clara Estelle Breed, born this day in 1906. She was a children's librarian in San Diego. During World War II, when Japanese Americans on the West Coast were ordered to detainment camps, she determined to help. As Nisei children came into her library to return library books before being shipped off, she let them know how much they would be missed. and on the day they were transported, she went to the railway station and handed out stamped, self-addressed postcards so they could stay in touch. Through the war, she maintained correspondence with the children, sent them books and basic supplies like soap, toothbrushes, and sewing kits that they lacked in the camps. And she made multiple visits to the Post-in-War Relocation Center internment camp in Arizona to see them in person. Over 250 letters she received from interned Nisei children survive and are in the collection of the Japanese American National Museum in Los Angeles. Remember Clara Estelle Breed and her acts of humanity and kindness in the midst of war. Today marks the return of the Swallows to Mission San Juan Capistrano in California. And to all our Muslim friends and neighbors who await the sighting of the Shawwal crescent moon, we wish you Eid Mubarak in anticipation. And that is the Observatory, Thursday the 19th of March, 2026.